Today is one of the happiest day in the life of Brother John C. and family, as well as each family members related to mission. Let us remember her in prayer. Also, she has taken a bold step to follow the command of Lord, and also she has taken a bold step to follow the footsteps of her parents as well as grandparents. It's a joyous day. Secondly, it's really a happiest day for each members of Bethany family here. Each one. I can see that from their faces. Everyone is smiling. No one is serious here. It's the happiest day. Above all, it's the happiest day. The heaven rejoices today. Okay. Without much introduction, I just want to go to my subject. That is, please turn your Bible to 2 King chapter 5. 2 King chapter 5. Summary of this chapter is how Naaman got cured. Mainly, I will be focusing on verses 1 to 21. We must have learned from our Sunday school, from when we were young, when we were child, we must have heard about how Naaman got cured. And we must have heard from well-known preachers about this subject. But let me tell you, as all of you know, I am neither a teacher nor a preacher. But what light I got out of this, I just want to share with you all. Some of our brothers, they were telling me this morning, brother, we are praying for you. That is the encouragement for me to stand in front of this big audience. I think this is the first time I am standing in front of a big, audience. Okay, let me read about this. How Naaman got his leprosy cured. There are few characters involved in this subject. Number one, as you know, Naaman. His wife. There is a prophet, Elisha, and servant of Elisha. And the last one, a young girl who was being captured and brought from Israel to Syria. And mostly I'll be concentrating on this subject. Thereafter, I will go forward with Naaman. Naturally, she is a captive. No much freedom. She is in a foreign land. She is working as the servant of Naaman's wife. No much influence. But other than this young girl, all very influential people. Naaman, who is Naaman, is the commander of armed forces of Syria. He is direct in touch with the king of Syria. And as I told, all are much influential people except this young girl. My subject this morning is about this girl. Mostly I will be talking about this young girl, how God mightily used her. How God mightily used a captive girl in a foreign country. See, she's a captive. As I told, no much freedom. Right? But God had a plan by sending her in a foreign country as a captive. God has had a plan. Otherwise, no. Everything God had a plan. So this young girl, in Malayalam, cheriya penkutti, something like that is word, it is written. Oru cheriya penkutti, a small girl. We do not know about her background. What is her name? What is her age? We do not know any background of this girl. When I was reading, I couldn't only think she is a captive. God had a plan by sending this captive girl to a foreign country. God had a plan. Even in adverse situation also, she was keeping her faith, very strong faith. It's not a favorable condition she is living. Still, she was having very, very strong belief and faith. Here we see her faith, what we learn, must have been from her parents. That's all I can say. Must have been from her parents. And again, the first thing, what see here, she wants to share her faith to others. Though it's not in a favorable condition she is living, still she wants to share her faith to others. She told to her mistress, that is wife of Naaman, there is a prophet in Samaria who can heal Naaman. Verse 3 we read that. And she said unto her mistress, would God be Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy. It's a very good news. This young girl is telling in a foreign country, there is a prophet in Samaria. If our master go there, he will get cured his leprosy. See, she is sharing her faith. That is the first thing. And that see her good intention. She was having a good intention. That's why she told. Otherwise, she would not have revealed to the mistress or Mrs. Naaman. She would not have. But she have a good intention. Yes. What was that intention? She was very bold in exercising her faith in adverse situation also. Do we have these qualities? Do we practice our faith when we are in adverse situation? Just examine ourselves. Another good quality in her, she was not having any enmity with Naaman. Supposed to be Naaman is her enemy, because during the war with Syria and Israel, they brought this young girl, they snatched from her parents, brought to his home, and she is working as a servant. She is serving the wife of Naaman, supposed to be his enemy. But she was not having any enmity with Naaman. She was willing to give what she had to her enemy, that Naaman must get cured his leprosy. See the good intention? She was not hiding her faith. He revealed her faith, shared her faith with a good intention. And another good quality I could see, no revenge, right? Supposed to be, she should show some revenge. In which way? I do not know. But one way I can say that. She would not have disclosed this truth. She must have thought in her heart, no, I will not. There is a prophet in Samaria. Yes, he can cure, but I will not. Why? He caught me. He captured me. He is keeping me in his house. No, I will not. No, that was not her mentality. She was not having any revenge. I can say she had God's own heart in her. That way you can just take that way. God's own heart in her. Want to share her belief, faith. She do not have any enmity. And there's no revenge. Let me tell you, Jesus Christ, immediately after his resurrection on third day, did he go to anyone who mocked at him? No. Did he go to Pilate, who awarded him the capital punishment? He did not. There's no revenge. That's why he told God's own heart in her. There was no revenge. That was a very good quality in her. If we would have gone through such a situation, what would have been our mentality? Just examine ourselves. Her intention was, let others know there is a living God who can show miracle. That was her intention. When she disclosed her faith, Her intention, let others know there is a living God who can show miracle. This is a miracle is going to take place. Most important, good quality, what I could see is she was not having any doubt about her faith. No doubt. She had a faith and she was not having any doubt about her faith. Why I say so? Turn with me to one of other portions from Luke chapter 4:27. We have heard during this month itself about this. 4:27 Luke chapter. And there were many in Israel with leprosy in the time of Elisha, the prophet, yet not one of them was cleansed, only Naaman the Syrian. See, never ever in the history of Israel, not even a single person, God cured their leprosy, and this is Syrian. This Naaman is the first one. Is it because there were no lepers in Israel? We can read here. I read here already. There were many. They were walking left and right. There were many lepers. Not even a single one got cured till that date. That's the most important words you have to underline. No one. Then how this girl, this young girl, should recommend to Naaman, go to Samaria, go to the prophet. How? Because her faith. You know, she had enough faith to believe Elisha would heal him. Her strong faith. See, what sort of... Suppose if some of you ask me to recommend a surgeon, heart surgeon, if I am 100% sure about a doctor, then only I will recommend. Right? I will not recommend your name. No, I'm not going. But if I am 100% sure, oh yes, I should know the expertise, experience, or how many surgery they perform. Then only I can. I heard Dr. Kamcharian is one of the famous heart surgeon who performed open heart surgery, first doctor in India. So I may recommend his name because I heard, I know, someone told me, or I must have referred in many records, it is shown that Dr. Kamcharian. But how this girl recommends Samaria, the prophet name? The Bible clearly says, not even a single leper got healed till that date. If you are not very sure, how you can recommend a person? This young girl recommend strongly to the prophet Elisha because she had very strong faith about him. What about our faith? Do we have strong faith? One of the preachers was telling about sometimes our faith, not everybody's faith, and generally about our faith. Like, torchlight. Here we know as flashlight. During, many years before, maybe 30, 40 years before, there were no electricity in many parts of the villages in Kerala. So people go for the night, meetings. How they go? They may go with a torchlight. There was a torch with 3 batteries. If you switch on, the light may go up to half a kilometer. So powerful light will go. But after using, or after a couple of months, the light will fade. Then what we will do? Usually they will twist the head little left and right to see whether I can get little light to reach up to the home. So dark. Unless you change the batteries, the light will not work. Some of us are sometimes like that. The initial days so powerful, attending all the meeting, going all public meetings, reading Bible. When very slowly, when our faith when my faith little bit decreased, it's fade up sometimes like this torch, don't we? See the faith of Abraham. We know that is a story. He was having a strong faith that even if he sacrificed Isaac, God can raise Isaac from the ashes. Such a faith. I don't say that anyone have that faith. But that is known as a strong faith. We doubt sometimes our faith, right? We doubt. We pray for something. God is not answering. Definitely get doubt. That too, God is answering. Say that way. God answered. It is not in our favor. What will happen? We get doubt. He is not hearing my prayer. We get doubt about our faith. But this girl was very strong, very bold in her faith. She was a silent missionary. That I can tell. He was a silent missionary. A captive. It's a sad part. A captive, when she was young, she was being snatched away from her parents. Right? It's a very sad news. Yet God allowed tragedy of her captivity to accomplish success. We can see how the success has come up. The young girl illustrates the mysterious ways God works. See the benefit of religious education. I was telling that she must have learned her parents. See the benefit of the religious education she got from her parents. What about our children? Are we giving them enough spiritual nourishment in order to grow as well as to overcome when they are going to be in captivity? Are we giving them spiritual enough nourishment? That we have to think ourselves. See the example of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. How they were very strong in their faith. Even the king given them a punishment, awarded, they put them in the fire. Still, what they told? Their faith, their faith is in the living God. Till now, I was talking about the qualities what I could find in that captive girl. Now we'll start with Naaman, verse 9 onwards. I just want to take you all with me to Naaman, verse 2 King chapter 5, verse 9. Naaman went with the horses, chariot, and servants, and he stopped at the door of Elisha's house. He's sitting in the chariot. There were many people accompanied with him. There were horses. He was traveling towards Elisha's house, and he stopped there in front of the door of the prophet. He did not get out from the chariot by thinking that the prophet will come out. He stopped there in front of the door. Door is closed. He was thinking by sitting inside a chariot that prophet will come out. By thinking that, his pride did not allow him to come out from the chariot. Verse 10. Elisha sent his messenger instead of a personal appearance. He was waiting. He has seen the door open. But Elisha did not come out. And Naaman did not get out from his chariot also. But a messenger came out from the main door, maybe side door, I don't know. He came out from the house. Yes? He was very happy. Yes, somebody asked. But that was the messenger, not the Elisha. Whereas Naaman was expecting, yes, now the prophet will come out. No. In my imagination, maybe he must have given a small cheat. Like, okay, he's a patient. He went to see. He wanted to get cured. A small prescription he got. What is that? It is written there. Go and wash yourself 7 times in Jordan. That is simple. So simple. Go and wash yourself 7 times in Jordan. That is the prescription he got. It doesn't say much about anything. Oh, you have to apply some oil in your head. No. Go before or after. Nothing is written. It's my imagination. So this is the way he got a simple prescription. And you will be cleansed. You will be cleansed. That is also written. If you go to a doctor, he may prescribe a medicine for 7 days. You go and eat morning, evening, night, everything. And come back and see me after 7 days. Because they are not very sure. They are not sure. But here the word clearly says here, not come back. You will be cured. You will be cleansed. See, what a guarantee, what a surety he got. But, he was not very happy. Verse 11, there the problem starts. Verse 11 we read, Naaman went away angry. Naaman, when he got the prescription in his hand, a simple medication, he got angry. That is the pathetic part of this. He was not expecting such a medication for his disease. The first enemy, self-proud. Yes, he is the commander of armed forces, not a small designation. It's a very big designation. He is the right hand of king of Jordan. Even he got a letter from king from Jordan to the king of Israel. Very powerful. Fame, money, wealth, everything he had. He was sitting only in the chariot. He is not getting down. He got angry. There we read in verse 11, his Naaman went away angry. His first enemy, self-proud. And second enemy, his evil tendency of questioning. He started questioning. Why? Why here? Why here? Why not there? There are many well-known rivers in back home. He traveled all the way. Must be 2 days, 3 days, 4 days he has traveled. A simple medication. He started questioning. First is evil tendency of questioning. But finally, he could overcome both his enemies when he obeyed God. That we can see. Sometimes, don't we ask these both questions? Sometimes, not always, sometimes. Why? Why not? Why not? This question in Psalm 73 Asaph, verse 13 and 14 is about similar way of questioning we can see. And verse 3 and 4, again, he is some sort of, questioning only. Why these questions? But how God can mold a person, we can see in verse 9. Verse 9, when you read, we can see how God could mold a person. He got completely cured. Okay. First, verse 9. His pride did not allow him to get out from his chariot. But verse 15, he stood before the God's servant Elisha after getting cured. What a great change has taken place in his life within a short span of time. First, he did not get out. He was sitting there. He was very angry. But how God could mold a person. He got out from the chariot. He went to see the prophet. Not only that, verse 21. Verse 21, we can see that he got out from chariot and stood before the servant of Elisha. Not only he stood before the prophet Elisha, but to the servant of Elisha. Gehazi. In Malayalam, is most appropriate word is used, not stood. It is not written. It is written, അവനെ രഥത്തിൽ നിന്നിറങ്ങി അവനെ എതിരേറ്റു. A warm welcome. Initially, he was angry. No, I am not getting down. Right? He got down. He stood before the prophet. First, he was not willing to. Even God allowed him to stand before the servant of the prophet. See, sudden changes has taken place in his life. Psalms 95 verse 6 we kneel before the God. He is our maker. Sometimes we are reluctant to stand. We are reluctant to get out from our chariot. We are not willing. Sometimes we are not at all willing to get out from our chariot. Maybe, our chariots, like an example, worldly pleasure. We do not have enough time. No, I am sitting here. I do not have time to go for prayer. I do not have time to read the Bible. No, sometimes we are not able to get out from the chariot. Our self-proud. Maybe in Daniel chapter 4 and 28, we read what happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. He was a king. He lost his kingdom. He is out from his throne. He was eating grass like an animal. Proud. That we can see that. Let us humble ourselves before God. Let our proud melt like wax. Another thing we got to notice here is in verse 3 we read it. In the same 2 King chapter 5 verse 3 we read, this captive girl has recommended, go to the prophet. Go to the prophet. That I just want to read. She said to her mistress, if only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy. That is the only simple message this captive girl told. But then what happened? He has gone to the king. He got a recommendation letter from the Syrian king to king of Israel. There this girl did not ask them. No. He told you, go and see. If only you see. Whereas he went with a letter from king of Syria to king of Israel. And sometimes we approach human's ability. We depend sometimes our wealth. God is asking to do something. He is going to do something else. We depend on our ability, our education. We go and depend on some high position people to get some sort of favor. Here the girl told only one small thing. If only my master go and see the prophet, he will get cured. But instead, he has approached the ability or influence of a king. That we got to notice here. And again, in verse 14, if you read one point, I just wanted to let you know. Verse 14. Initially, this Naaman was not willing to obey. Right? No. He was not willing. Then what happened? When his servant approached, whose servants? Naaman's servant told to Naaman, Father, if the prophet would have asked you something, great things, what would have happened? You would have obeyed, right? Then why not this? Then after hearing that, not the initially when he got instruction from the prophet. No, He was not, he was angry. But when he heard from his servant, he was willing. He went down in the water. Right? But what the scripture says, that's the most important. Where verse 14, that word to be underlined. Verse 14. So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him. It doesn't say, as the servant of Naaman told him. No. It's a big difference between this. He went and dipped 7 times, as the man of God told him, but not as the man of God told him, he did not. No. When his servant persuaded him, he obeyed. But the Holy Spirit clearly returned, as the man of God told him. If it would have been the servant, then the credit goes to whom? Credit goes to the servants. Credit goes to the man. But here the credit goes to God. Right? That's the word is most important to be underlined. As the man of God told, he has obeyed. He get cured. And another thing, a simple way of miracle. What was the treatment? A simple way of miracle without the presence of prophet. Prophet was not standing near the river. He was not standing. He did not see even the prophet, did he? Only a messenger sent a small prescription. Go and do this thing. Prophet was not standing near the water. He was not touching his head or praying. Or Elisha was not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. The presence of prophet was nowhere. So what happened? The credit goes to God, not to Elisha. Otherwise, the credit would have been gone to Elisha, human beings, not to God. That is very most important. We can learn a lesson. Nowadays, unfortunately, many Elisha standing near the rivers, big crusades, big healing crusade, miracle crusades. There are many Naamans get cured. Yes, physically we can see many in TV, in Malayalam TV and all you can watch. Many big crusades. There are many Naamans get cured. But what happened? The credit goes to Elisha's, not to God. The credit should go to God. He is the only one worthy to get praises from our mouth. And he is the only one must get credit. Right? And again, it's almost, okay. Verse 15. I think this Naaman became a preacher. Became a big evangelist, I can say. Verse 15. At the beginning, Naaman was not yielding the command of the prophet. Now he has completely changed. Physically, he became normal person. There's no leprosy in his body, no. And spiritually also, I could see he became okay. He became a pastor. Why? There's a testimony we can read in verse 15. Testimony. He is declaring something. Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. Verse 15. That was not his attitude. When he came to Samaria, that was not his attitude. No. He has completely changed. He became, his body restored, is a normal person. And spiritually also, something has touched his heart. he is declaring there is no other God. Yes, Naaman is declaring, now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. See what a big changes has come to his life. The young girl's faith transformed the life of Naaman. These young girls, these captive girls, God transformed the life of Naaman. The young girl's God. God of this captive girl. God of Israel. Changed completely to the life of Naaman. Lastly, let me ask before concluding this. Are we giving enough spiritual nourishment to our generation in order for them to withstand and overcome while they are in captivity? This girl must have received spiritual nourishment from her parents. Are we? Are we passing our faith to next generation? Are we? What faith I have, are we passing same my faith to my generation? This is another question. Psalms 145, verse 4. Psalms 145, verse 4. One generation will commend your works to another. They will tell of your mighty acts. They will speak of the glorious splendor of your majesty. How they can speak the majesty of God? They must get from their parents or from the church. Here we see one generation will commend your works to another. They will speak the glorious splendor of your majesty. Are we passing our faith to next generation? This is the time to examine ours. Are we sharing our faith to others like this young girl? There were very good qualities I could see in her. She was willing to share her faith. She was practicing her faith while in captivity also. There was no enmity with her enemy. There was no revenge with her enemy. And her strong faith. There was no doubt about her faith. Even if till that day, the first one got cured is Naaman. Till that day, none in Israel got cured their leprosy. But how she could recommend a person? Because of her strong faith. Though Naaman kept her as captive, what was her intention? Yes, Naaman must get cured. His enemy must get cured. Is it our mentality with our enemies? Are we sharing our faith with others? Are we passing our faith with our next generation? Let us examine ourselves. May God bless you all with this verse.